the fact that quite a number of these young men and women that were remanded by the court-martial have actually been denied the protection of the Constitution. Why? Because one, the court-martial which remanded them was said not to have had the powers, and therefore that makes their remand illegal. But quite a number have tried to apply to courts for bail, and two rulings of the High Court have been significant, to the effect that the court says we cannot grant bail to a person who has no file before us. No, not that. The High Court says we cannot grant you bail if you have no file pending, you have no criminal case pending before us. What that leaves is that these young people are going to remain in prison for as long as the police or the UPDF have not submitted their case files to the police and therefore transmitted to the DPP and arraigned formally. Again, what this means is that these people will never have any recourse anywhere, because they cannot go to court to say, my rights in prison have been violated. And just as a reminder, the decision of the Supreme Court was rendered on 31st of January this year. So you're coming to 10 months of jailing without the protection of courts of law. That information, I thought that information is very critical, that those people were simply dumped there. Actually, even the food, the money we are spending on them is illegal, because we can only provide for food for prisoners that are remanded legally. They are not in police custody, they are in a prison, but simply dumped and abandoned there. And the commitment of the Attorney General is very critical, because he said their files are going to be processed. So I don't know how long it takes government to process those files, unless they are saying half of Ugandans are in prison on that account. But if that is not the case, I believe we are talking about 5.
I want to take advantage of the existence of the Minister of Justice here and the Attorney General. I remember when I raised the issue of overcrowding in prisons and then the long detention without trial. It touched you, Mr. Speaker, personally, and the government had made a commitment that they would come back to us here with the list of every prisoner who has not been presented before court, and those who are entitled to be released. First, to save us the cost of feeding the prisoners, but also to decongest the prison. This has not happened. It has taken really, really long. I raise this because we interacted with the judiciary. And when we asked them to tell us the number of people they have sent on remand, they told us they could not, that they are not aware. They need to go back and compare notes.
They would have proceeded to say, now that we have learned somebody is in detention illegally, release him unconditionally, because that is the duty of court, to protect the law and the Constitution. So I think it's a matter we need to take serious, and that's the information to you.
Conclude that the Constitution talks about a fair and speedy trial. So all we're asking government is that once you have incarcerated somebody, give them a chance to go and defend themselves. To lock somebody in prison for all those years without a chance to appear, and yet we have given a lot of money to we have increased the number of judges, number of magistrates, even prosecutors. All these mechanisms are available for these people to be tried. So let's have another commitment, and if possible, we get that list here so that those ones who deserve to come out are actually released. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. So Attorney General, member, where I think was from Honorable Mujite's constituency, yeah, the one they found at Ruzira, when we had sent a committee to look at the health status of Dr. Kiza Besigye. They found people who had been in prison for many, many years. You know, yes, I was, I think, one of 28 years and all that. And you said you will study indeed and you come back. You look at that. Oh, Chairman, Human Rights Committee, which led the committee is here. Honorable Fox Odod.
Attorney General, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, Uganda prisons, the list of well over 5,000 people who have been detained for prolonged periods. So they supplied the list. We have it as a committee. We have prepared a report. It's ready to be presented to you, sir.
Yeah, but you see, what was to take action as provided for under the law. So maybe if we could ask, because here, what would we resolve? To say, release? No, we can't order. We don't have that power. Yeah. So please, Attorney General.
So what I want for the record, I want the record to note that there is no prisoner in prison who has not been there by virtue of an order of court. So we just need to be clear on that. Prisons receives warrants from courts. Now, Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable colleagues, we have been working with the DPP tirelessly. There are people whose cases we've taken nolle prosequi because the time they have been on remand may be longer than the time they would have served for the charge for which they have been. Number two, we have, like you said, we have increased the number of state prosecutors, but they are not as many as the courts that have been set up. Now you have a chief magistrate at every district, you have a G1 practical at every constituency, and that stretches the DPP quite a bit. But we are working, and in this year's budget, we have requested for more numbers to send more prosecutors. So the challenge is a person is in court, the magistrate is there, but probably we don't have a prosecutor there, but we're working on that as well. So yes, it is true we have provided the list, but we are working hard to try and, let me finish. We are working hard to get these people processed as fast as possible. I thank you, Right Honorable.
Yeah, thank you.
Wonder why it would take us close to a year to have their files to subsequent decisions of the High Court, where that we cannot grant you bail because we do not know you in the first place.
Court order over that. Right, Honorable Speaker, I thought this information is very important, even as we ingest this issue. When the petition was handed over to the Speaker,